The bright action film begins with wall writings, as if God created all races equal, and murals about the Lords of Darkness. The situation of racial prejudice in Los Angeles is evident from all the scenes in the movie. A human police officer named Ward and his companion, who is from the orc race, are on a mission in one of the neighborhoods in Los Angeles when an unknown orc targets Officer Ward and shoots him. Fortunately, Ward survives. During his leave, he discusses the tough economic situation with his spouse, and they notice a fairy eating bird food. His spouse asks him to kill the fairy, but Ward refuses. On television, they talk about an orc colleague named Doru, stating that he is not a member of any of our racial groups. Ward's spouse asks him not to work with Doru so he won't get shot again, but Ward explains that he needs to continue working with him due to his retirement benefits. He enters the courtyard to kill the fairy. Stating that fairies are of little importance and his neighbors mock him. With his daughter, he discusses the notion that Nick, presumably a character, is bad and causes trouble for him. He argues that if races differ, there is no reason to label one as bad and another as good. They should strive to coexist and live together. The daughter advises him not to speak about Nick in that way, saying that Nick means something to her as well. He takes his daughter to her grandmother's house, where the daughter pleads not to die because her mother told her Nick would be the cause of her death, and she wants him to quit being a cop since everyone dislikes the police. On their way to the police station, Nick senses emotions from his orc partner, indicating he had trouble sleeping or that his marriage might not be going well. They enter the neighborhood of the elves, who are very wealthy and run the world, obsessed with buying. There, another orc driver with imperfect teeth is mocked by his fellow elves, and Nick remarks that even their drivers are arrogant. His colleagues express their desire to remove him from the team due to his tribal prejudice because they fear that because of him, someone might get shot. Nick justifies his actions based on a contract from 2,000 years ago and believes they have a right to live. But one of the officers retorts that they kill them 1,000 times over in Russia. A meeting is held to try and make the full moon days go by without any killings. The female police chief assigns the officers into groups, and Nick and Jakoby are placed in the same group, although Nick protests, and the chief does not accept his objections. The orcs are considered thugs and troublemakers, causing chaos throughout the city. Ward wants to make sure that Jakoby watches over him and doesn't let his tribal bias get in the way, as Jakoby maintains their safety during any confrontation with the orcs. In several parts of the city, the orcs create safe havens, leading to conflicts with the police. Doru asks Jakoby again if he is originally a cop or an orc. Jakoby responds that he always wished to become a cop, and his badge means more to him than the air he breathes. They are assigned to a mission. On the street, they encounter a man with a sword named Serling, who doesn't seem like an apparent threat, but makes predictions about the past and future. He talks about the army of 9 races fighting to prevent the elves and orcs from dominating the earth. Suddenly, the man draws his sword towards both officers, claiming that the Dark Lord, Satan, is returning to reclaim the hearts of orcs through dark magic and lead them again. Ward and Jakoby apprehend the man, and their colleagues inform them that 2 other races have also started rioting, and they need to be careful. The man begins speaking in the orcish language with Jakoby. They return to the precinct, and 2 officers inform Ward that Jakoby intentionally freed the person who had shot him. He is unwilling to accept it, but they provide evidence that supports their claim and threaten to fire him if he doesn't cooperate. He agrees to record his confession as long as he doesn't testify anywhere, and there are no documents involved. 2 federal agents come to the police station and see Jakoby, astonished that an orc is a cop. One of the agents is an elf, and he says it's as if an elf were to become a bright, apparently a term for a cop. Jakoby is afraid and thinks they came there because of him, but Ward explains that they are federal police and don't care about the orcs in Los Angeles. Ward initiates a conversation saying that speaking the truth clears relationships, and they are being deployed to a specific area. The man with the sword is interrogated by the federal agents who want to know if he is a bright or not. With Jakoby's involvement, they learn that the two men are Federal Magic Division agents, inquiring about the Inferni, apparently some dark forces. He tells them that the elves are traitors, and they seek to return the Dark Lord's forces by obtaining 3 magic wands. He shows a picture of Layla, a shining elf, indicating that all elves govern the world. The federal agent asks if there are shining humans too, and the man says there's a 1 in a million chance, and the way to tell is to touch a magic wand with your bare hand without getting destroyed. He asks if Ward is willing to try and discover the truth about himself. The federal police agent says that Layla is after a girl named Tikka, and they can use Tikka as bait to capture Layla and collect all the magic wands. Serling laughs and says that the Dark Force is coming, and no tank or anything can stop it. 2,000 years ago, the magical force contained it. The bright shield can only defend against it. The elf officer warns that if they behave like enemies, they will become enemies. Ward and Jakoby arrive at the designated location and realize that someone tipped them off and shot at them, resulting in the death of the informant and his accomplice. The place is filled with corpses and burnt bodies. They search the area, and Jakoby senses someone who has been enchanted and is held captive. They request backup and find a shining girl with a magic wand. An orc with some knowledge of Elvish translates as the girl speaks in Elvish and warns that they are coming. The backup arrives, and the matter is explained to them. They plan to take the wand and kill Jakoby, but Ward disagrees. With persistence, they devise a plan to leave without Jakoby, take the wand, and kill the elf girl. Jakoby admits that he is not a true orc and has always been the subject of ridicule. He explains the day an orc shot at Ward, and how he let the innocent person go, as the person they killed was a wall rider mistaken for the shooter. The federal officers approach from behind, and Ward draws his gun towards Jakoby. The officers draw their weapons, and a standoff occurs. However, they create another plan to kill both the police officers, Daryl and Jakoby, and take the magic wand. Jakoby reluctantly agrees to explain the situation and calls for backup. Meanwhile, neighborhood gangsters arrive, claiming the wand found in their territory belongs to them. Daryl dismisses it as superstition, and they manage to escape with difficulty but are pursued. Eventually, they manage to outwit the gangsters through bravery and cooperation. The elf girl starts shouting, and the magic wand begins to move. The car crashes into an invisible wall, causing a severe accident. The federal police receive a suspicious call mentioning the magic wand. Layla, the shining elf, enters the building where the officers are present. The magical statue wakes up the girl who was suspended there and tells her that the traitorous girl has escaped, and the magic wand is with her. Layla kills the woman with the necklace, as well as the half-dead officer. Ward, Jakoby, and the girl escape from the accident unharmed and enter a building. Jakoby explains that the wand is a magical charm that prevents its owner, a shining individual, from being far away. This is why they crashed into the wall. Layla and her group enter the building, and Ward interrogates them. The man tells them that a black police officer killed all the cops and escaped with an elf. Layla and her companions killed all their family members, even a little child. Vard says that 3 groups are after them. Jakoby explains that due to the enchantment, they cannot take the staff out from here and away from its owner. Vard suggests leaving it here, but Jakoby fears that if it falls into the wrong hands, the streets will be filled with corpses. The gangsters catch up to them, and Vard gets hit by an arrow. For the first time, Jakoby shoots at someone. During their escape, they find themselves in a gathering of orcs who are engaged in a wild and savage dance. The gangsters follow them into that place, but they cleverly escape from there. Meanwhile, the federal police arrive at the building and discover the dead body of the captured girl, killed by Layla, who is from the Inferno. Layla is after the two police officers, the staff, and Tikka. They realize that she is targeting the two police officers, and the federal chief suggests that without the staff, she is vulnerable and can be easily apprehended. Vard and Jakoby change their clothes so they no longer look like police officers. The gangsters are still after the wooden staff, and they threaten them. Daryl suggests handing the staff over, but Jakoby resists. In the meantime, Tikka's hair starts to spike, and she says that the devil is coming. While Vard and Jakoby decide to hand over the staff, Layla and her group attack and kill all of them. At the same time, the federal police arrive, and that allows them to easily escape from Layla's grasp. Vard tends to Jakoby's wound, and he asks, "Am I not a cop anymore?" Vard says that the orcs have taken the wrong path and they see him as human, while humans see him as a beast. Vard questions why Jakoby didn't tell her the truth, and he replies that she wants him to trust her, but she doesn't trust him. Vard praises Jakoby for being a good cop, and Jakoby says that Vard is the person he admires, brave and noble like him. Vard calls his friend, the sheriff, for help, and he comes to assist them. He wants to arrest the gangsters. Daryl says they have the staff, and as soon as he hears that, he contacts the federal police. Daryl talks to his chief and offers to give them the staff on the condition that they clear him of the murder charges. The chief suggests that if he has kept it away from corrupt people, they can resolve the matter. In the meantime, Layla traces them through the phone and cuts off their communication. The police only locate the neighborhood, and both groups set off in pursuit of them. The sheriff proposes pinning the charges on Jakoby, but Vard doesn't agree. Jakoby says, "How long do we have to run? Let's surrender." The sheriff handcuffs them both, and at that moment someone shoots him from behind, killing the sheriff. Layla's group attacks them with utmost cruelty and violence, and Tikka manages to unlock their handcuffs with a key. They enter a shop, and Layla grabs Tikka and throws her aside with force. Daryl again uses his stun gun, causing an explosion by shooting the spray shelf. Vard, Jakoby, and Tikka manage to escape with him. A group of orcs surrounds them and arrests them, leading them to their leader. He says that every month he holds a celebration where everyone gets drunk and feasts together, all races united without weapons. But Vard ruined their celebration by bringing a weapon. He demands the location of the staff from them, but they refuse to reveal it. They try to pressure them by threatening Tikka's life, but they remain tight-lipped because they know that if the staff falls into the wrong hands, it will bring chaos and darkness everywhere. The leader hands Jakoby over to his son, Hama, expecting him to kill Jakoby and earn his place in the tribe. However, Hama was the one whom Jakoby had helped escape, and he refuses to shoot. Instead, Hama accidentally shoots an arrow into his father's chest, and the leader falls into a deep well. He also intends to harm Daryl, but Tikka intervenes, taking the blow and chanting a healing spell that revives Jakoby. All the orcs admire Tikka for her power. Jakoby, Daryl, and Tikka escape together from there, but Tikka is not feeling well. They ask her to use her powers, but she admits she's still new to magic and doesn't know many spells. She also didn't trust them, so she refrained from discussing the traitorous elves with them. When they inquire about the plans of the Dark Lord, she reveals that they aim to bring the Dark Lord to kill billions of people and enslave the rest in a new world of darkness. They have eliminated the righteous beings because they were from the realm of light. Tikka herself was once part of them, but escaped, hiding the shield of illumination, and entrusted the staff to a killer, expecting him to finish her off. However, she managed to take the staff from him and used her magic to prevent it from falling into Layla's hands. The darkness is closing in on her, but she knows that she can find salvation in a pool where tree roots are interconnected. But it's located in a house. Daru suggests going to the hospital, but Jakoby insists on going back home and not acting like ordinary people. He wants them to unite like farmers who defeated the dark forces and fulfilled the prophecy. They return home, where they find a bomb. Jakoby keeps the bomb while Layla is by the pool. Tikka realizes that her people are hidden there, and they have been fighting together. Jakoby pushes one of the main members down with the bomb, killing him. Layla is still engaged in battle when Tikka strikes her energetically with the staff, and Jakoby shoots her with a gun. Then, Vard throws Tikka into the pool, and Layla demands her life back. Tikka, in the water, tells Vard to have faith as someone is coming. She ties Jakoby with a rope and goes for Tikka. She grabs the staff and tries to take her back to their group. Jakoby breaks the rope and Layla asks him what value humans and orcs have for him. He must wake up. An orc shoots towards Layla, but she loses her staff. Daru tells her to take his head as he is not armed. Daru stretches his arm towards the staff to destroy everyone, but Jakoby tells him it won't work as they are following the prophecy. Jakoby takes the staff, and everyone is amazed to see that Daru is now glowing. Tikka repeats her words to Vard. Layla is defeated, and Tikka disappears. Together, they leave the place, and Jakoby realizes that Vard is still inside the building. He goes back and saves him, and the orc group celebrates Jakoby as their savior. The federal police take the staff into custody in a secure container. During the interrogation, they question Daru and Jakoby. Jakoby unintentionally reveals everything, and Vard clarifies the situation to the extent that their cooperation led to casualties. The magic staff did not exist, and they confirm that there is no other evidence. They all agree. In a ceremony, they honor Jakoby, Daru, and the 4 other officers who lost their lives.